The first step to making a hanger for glass flower is to establish how long you want to make your hanger before you glue your flower together. So we're going to measure here. We're going to have 3 inches glued onto the flower and on the back of the plate, another 2.5 inches for the rebar to hold the flower up. So 3 and 2.5 is a 5.5 inch piece. We're going to cut a 5.5 inch piece of 1/2 inch nominal copper water pipe available at any hardware store. If you don't have a tube cutter, you can use a hacksaw, or you can buy a small tube cutter relatively inexpensively. You want to always wear gloves when working with the pipe because it has a sharp edge when it's being cut. So here we have our 5.5 inch piece of pipe. We're just going to quickly ream the inside edge to take the sharp burr off. And it's now ready to be softened and annealed. So we're going to take our measuring ruler and mark the 3 inch on the pipe. And the next step will be to anneal the copper tube so that it is soft and workable. So the next step is to change this pipe that we just cut into a hanger that'll fit a plate. This is one I've done previously. You can see it's been flattened and made to fit the shape of the plate so that it will then fit on and have a good contact to glue it in place. So what we need to do is heat the hardened copper pipe. This is going to go on the end eventually as the hanger. We need to heat the copper pipe up to 800 degrees Fahrenheit and then dip it into water. So you can do this with a barbecue flame, you can do this with a propane stove, you can do this with a butane torch. Pretty much any source of flame that you can put your tube into. Now, obviously, the pliers are going to get hot, and you want to be wearing gloves when you're doing this. So it's going to take a minute or two, maybe longer, to heat the copper pipe. We know the copper pipe is the right temperature when it turns a kind of a dark blue, almost like you can almost start to see it be a soft red. But it runs through a number of colors of the rainbow on its way to that temperature. So I don't know, the water pipe comes in a hardened temper, which we want for the bottom part that goes onto our support to keep it from bending, but we will anneal the upper portion. Now we can see, I don't know if you'll be able to see it from there. I'll bring it closer when it's ready. The important thing is to quench it in water, which is to totally submerge it in water. And when you do this, the water inside the pipe will boil and it will spit out. So safety-wise, make sure that the pipe is pointing in a direction where the water won't do any harm when it spits out. Okay, so that is the color that we want, and then it just goes into the cold water. And just sits there until it cools off. So here we have our copper pipe that we annealed. This was the area that was hot. We've marked our 3 inches that we want to shape to fit the back of our flower. So in order to get a better bond, we want a wider area that will have a greater glue contact. So what we're going to do is we're going to flatten this copper pipe. Now if you don't have a vise, you can do this with a flat piece of wood, or 2 pieces of wood and a hammer, and bang them, basically hammer it flat. The vise, as you'll probably see, creates a nicer straight flat surface. So here we now have a nice flat surface on our piece of pipe. This area is still hard, so it won't bend so easily. The next step is to look at how it's going to fit on our plate. And in this case, it fits pretty much right the way it is. We're just going to make a little bend here, just to give it a, take it a little bit away from the plate. Okay, we want to just put a lump there, there. Now, there we go. You can see we're going to have a big area. We're going to be able to put the glue on. We'll probably shorten this up a bit if we need to. Well, I think we will change this. We're going to change it so it will slide a little further on. So what I'm doing is making a first bend and then the second bend. So now you can see we can slide it up so it's not going to show down here. We move that right up to the center of the plate and it's ready for gluing. So to finish this video, we have the flowers on the green rebar stuffed into a planter, and they bloom all year. Also very nice if you can add some lighting behind them. Good luck on your project.